A misaligned leader is bleeding money where you're not even looking at. Driven Mofos, welcome back to another episode of Winning Standards. Today is Friday, so it's the scale layer. We are talking about systems and frameworks that will help your business to grow. So what I want to talk about today is making sure that you're building a team of leaders around you. As I've been talking about for a long time now, that all leadership is self-leadership. And so this is a key principle and fundamental that is I'm going to keep coming back to as you build your team and as you build your company. Now, if you want to stay small, it's great. The business is going to be highly profitable, but you're going to be working your ass off. One of the most common mistakes that people make is that they think that running a small team is going to be the most profitable and easy way to run a business. But what they find is that you can't go on holidays, you can't have time off. You'll get 40 messages on your phone every day when you're away, emails, things go wrong, everything comes back to you. It's great because you'll make, I guess, good money in a way, but your lifestyle will be impacted heavily because of it. If you start to really grow and scale your team, then you have to start thinking about leadership. And you've got to start thinking about how you build a team of leaders underneath you. Something that I did a little while ago was I was working with an electrical company. And I'm still working with them actually. They've been in the community now for 3 years and they've probably quadrupled their size and their team has grown quite dramatically. And what I kept focusing on was that the leader of the company first has to build greater self-awareness. Because if we understand that our life is a mirror and our team will reflect things back onto us. So if we don't hold our leadership team accountable, you will see a lack of accountability in the business. Now, a lot of business owners will get stressed out and frustrated and go, well, this is bullshit. I told them how to do this. But what it's really showing you is that your leadership team isn't holding other people accountable. So you have to teach them accountability. It's not something that intrinsically most people have. Most people don't just wake up and have accountability. So your thought process as you scale is, I've worked my ass off now. The business is making money, but I have no time. My profitability is starting to get squeezed because we're hiring more people. And especially once you start hiring office staff or administration staff, then your profit's going to start to get squeezed a little bit. Then you need more for accounting and all these extras. These people are people who don't tend to make the company money directly. They make it indirectly. So you've got to make sure that they become more efficient and more effective in what they do. So the reframe I like to make is that if you're an operator, that's great. You'll stay an operator, but that means that everything's relying on you. The moment you start to scale, you've got to keep reminding yourself, leaders build leaders. And the team is always going to be a mirror of me. So if I'm stressed under pressure, my team are going to be stressed under pressure. When I'm stressed and reactive, my team are going to be stressed and reactive because they're watching through osmosis about how you handle the pressures and the stresses of problems. And if you react and fly off the handle when, a problem comes up, then your team are going to do the same thing. Then you're going to have higher staff churn. You're going to lose good staff. These is shit that I had to go through to figure out. So please don't do this. Some of you are probably doing it right now, and this will be a good reminder. So leaders build leaders. Today, I want to give you a framework though that will help you to build a better leadership team around you. Now, you might not have a great leadership team at the moment. You might have people that you've sort of promoted into a supervisor or a manager, or maybe you've hired a leader, but maybe they're not performing as effective as you want. Today is all about how do we start to make these people perform effectively. The first thing that I would recommend is once you hire someone, now I'm not going to go through the hiring process today. It's part of my Odyssey program. You can go and check out more of that stuff. But if you've done a really good job hiring and you have a really good hiring model and you can write effective job ads and you can attract the right people into your organization, then the first thing that you want to do is you want to sit them down and get to know them, but also run something called an e-color test. Now, there's lots of different tests out there. There's DISC profile, there's Myers-Briggs, there's the color code. There's ones where some people are dolphins and other people are lions and shit, whatever. But what I try to do is I use something called E-color, which is the letter E for Edward and then color. Now, if you search it online, in fact, actually, I'm going to do it right now. I'll search it online for you because it comes up as something a little bit different. E-color. So the website is equilibria.com, but it's called the e-color test. Now, what it does is it will give you different colors of people to work with. So for example, reds are more of a dominant type personality, similar to DISC profile. They tend to be highly driven, highly ambitious, a bit more aggressive and dominant in their personality. You have the yellows. Yellows are more people orientated, more connection driven. They want to understand interpersonal relationships and so on. Then you've got the blues that are more your structured type personalities where they'll build systems and processes. They tend to operate more effectively with structure around them. And then you've got the greens. They're more people pleasing. They're more of a thinker, so they'll tend to sit and think about things, whereas reds will just action stuff. What you need to do though is you need to build out a team of different color codes around you. And here's how you use this test, because I just did it with my team, my leadership team, and it came back fucking awesome. So what you want to do is get your top leadership team or people who are close to you to do the e-color test. Now, what you want is you don't want to build a team of personalities like you. So I am a red yellow. So I'm very dominant in my personality. I want to get shit done. I move quick. I don't overthink things. I just push hard. Now, that's a strength, but you also have to remember that every person's strength is also their weakness. So my strength is that I tend to push hard. I don't overthink things. I tend to move quickly. But my problem that I have is I tend to move quickly and don't think about things too thoroughly. Whereas Jess, my wife, she's a she's a green-blue. She tends to be more of the thinker. So she's a deep thinker. She'll do our finances. She figures everything out, how things interconnect. She spends a lot of time thinking about the details. The problem is she can overthink things. So it might take her 3 months to buy something that it will take me 30 seconds to analyze. I analyze it, go, that's what I want, and I buy it. Jess will sit there and she'll do market research and she'll overthink things. And then, do we have enough money? What's cash flow like? What happens if something doesn't happen next month? But that's why she's great at finances, because she really thinks in depth about how everything's going to work. So I need someone like that around me. But I also need someone like our general manager that we have. Our general manager is a blue-red. So they're very systemized, but they move quick as well. So they'll put in systems and processes and hold the team accountable and push them hard. But if I gave that to Jess, Jess would not push the team hard because she doesn't have that red. So what you want to do, I'm just going to give you this example because I've spoken about my team, but you need to go do it with your team. Get your closest people around you. So if you've got a finance person, let's say we also have a chief financial officer or a part-time chief financial officer, get them to do it. Get your general manager to do it if they report directly to you. So if you're the owner, get your direct reports to do this. If you're a small business owner, you might get your whole team to do it. It's up to you. Like, you can literally do it with 1,000 people. It makes no difference. But what I find is that when I'm working with business owners, I get them to do this with their closest people. And I just did this with the electrical company that I was working with the other day. I got them to go and do it with their key functions. So their head of administration, their chief financial controller, I guess you could say, their general manager, their site supervisor, or I can't remember what title they gave them. But I got them to go and do it all. Then what you do is once you get back the report, and if you can, pay for the premium version. Like, you can get a cheap version, and I guess that's fine. But if you can, get the premium version. Give it to them. Make sure they understand their own colors. Then what you do is you upload it into Claude. So you make sure you've got a Claude subscription. For those of you who don't know, it's AI similar to ChatGPT. You could probably do it on ChatGPT as well. But what I did was I said, what I want you to go and do is I want you to analyze these reports, and I want you to give me every person who are my direct reports. I need to know their strength and their weaknesses, their color code, what drives them, what pisses them off or gets them stuck, and then how do we work effectively as a team. And what it will do is it'll come back with a full report through ChatGPT or Claude, and it'll create a dashboard. Then what you do is you give it to your team and you get them to look over it. So it'll give you a link. You send it to your team. You say, this is how we work together. Then you book a meeting and you go through each other's lanes. So for example, with my team, I set it with my general manager and Jess and my key functions, so my chief financial officer, and we went through the color codes. I explained how it works, and then I explained to each one of them their colors. Because not only do you have a primary color, but you have a secondary color. So me being a red-yellow, red is my dominant drive, but then there's also the secondary drive. So I'm very much a people person, but I also like being around people who push hard, who challenge themselves, who can make fast decisions. People who make slow decisions tend to frustrate me and piss me off because I just want to get shit done and I want to move. And so I love working with highly driven, highly ambitious people, which is why my community is called the Driven Mofos, because I love those highly driven people. But then I need people like Jess around me who are slower and more methodical in their thinking. And then my general manager, I need someone who tends to be more structured, but also has that red driver. What I've done before is I've hired general managers and haven't done the e-color test, and it's caused massive problems because if they're a green-blue, they will love structure, but they also want unity. They want to overthink things. They tend to overstructure stuff. They don't push hard enough. And so that can stall the business growth. But also I want to make sure that other people in key functions as well really understand the types of people we need. And in fact, I was talking to my management team today and I said, we need to hire a head of marketing, but we need to make sure that their primary or their secondary color is red. So they need to be potentially a blue-red or a red-yellow. So they need to be semi-structured, but they need to have a bit of creative essence, but they need that red dominant force where they just get shit done. Because if they're going to sit there and overthink things too much, it's going to stall the business growth. And when we're growing quick, which we are now, I need people who can move and get shit done. Then we can build the team out around them where we have some more like green blues and stuff like that, where they're a bit more analytical and they can dive deep into the numbers and stuff like that. But at the moment, I need to make sure that the people around me, like my leadership team, have some of those dominant traits, like a good, strong red. I also need strong blues around me who are highly structured because I'm not structured. I have some structure, but I like to just flow. So my weeks tend to be pretty flowy. And that's because of my strong yellow. So anyway, go and check that out. I really wanted to do today's podcast. I want to keep it quick. I want to keep it simple, and I want to give you some stuff that's actionable. Go to equilibria.com. I have no affiliation with them. I don't get a kickback. I'm just telling you because I know it will help you to grow your business, especially if you have key functions around you. If you're a smaller business, it doesn't really matter because you don't really have leaders yet. What you have is you have people who do shit and you just tell them what to do. So essentially micromanage them. Most small businesses who have under, I would say 4 to 6 people, you tend to just micromanage the shit out of them and they just do what they're told. But the problem with that is that they always rely upon you. And you know that you're micromanaging people when they always come to you and ask for your advice and what you think we should do. When you build a good leadership team around you, that won't happen anymore. So very rarely, like I actually did a full staff meeting today because I haven't spoken to most of my team for 2 weeks or 3 weeks now. And I said, right now it's time to start implementing proper team meetings every week or every fortnight. I got my general manager to send out an invite and I do more of the culture type stuff. That's the yellow part of me coming out, where I want to connect with the team and make sure that they're getting looked after, but also that we're driving towards something meaningful, which is our vision, our mission, our values, and all the stuff that I go through in Odyssey, which is building out the correct culture guide so that you can create the right strategy. So my job as the visionary leader is to create the big picture, which is the vision, the mission, the values of the company, reinforce them, keep reminding people of where we're going, set the quarterly goals, and then let my management team take those goals and go and execute them, make sure that they get done. They hold everyone else accountable. They make sure that reporting gets done properly. And that's the way that you scale your business. But you've got to make sure you've got the right bums in the right seats, because I've done this so many times in the past where I've hired the wrong general managers who I thought were good, but I didn't test them out. Now, again, you don't have to use e-color. You can use a DISC profile. You can use Myers-Briggs. You can use, there's so many different tests out there. I've just found this one's the most simple one. And it gives you a really good readout of the team of people around you and how they perform. And it's not super accurate. Like these are, a lot of these tests are just bullshit anyway, because I guess like it comes back that I'm not that structured. But if you look at my weeks and you look at my years, I'm pretty structured. But it's just that I'm structured in an unstructured format. But what it does is it gives my team an understanding of how I operate and how they operate and how they're going to function most effectively. So just remember, this shit isn't black and white, especially when you're doing personality profiles. They are inaccurate, but they give you guidelines. And that's essentially what they are. They're bumper plates and lanes so that you and your team can run in. And because of that, if you give the right people the right jobs with the right roles, then the company will grow. If you put the wrong bum in the wrong seat, then don't be surprised if the business doesn't grow. Like if you take someone who, let's say that they're an electrician, you then give them a management role and you want them to start building out systems and processes and reporting and shit like that. If they don't have that color code, which is a blue, they're probably not going to do it because they're not highly structured. You want someone who's highly structured. So you might want to find them in your workforce if you're going to promote someone who's the structured person, who naturally thinks that way, not someone that I've got to train and develop, that naturally thinks like that. Jess doesn't have to teach me to be a red, right? Whether I'm at work or not at work, I just want to get shit done. I want to move quick and I'm highly decisive in most cases. Also, I'm a connector. So I love connecting with people. I can go out, I talk to everybody, I connect with people. That's just naturally what I do. Whereas Jess isn't like that. Jess tends to be more methodical in the way that she does things, even at home. Whether she's cooking, she will cook off of a recipe. Whereas I just throw shit together in a pan, figure out the flavor I want, and I just keep working with it until I get the flavor profiles. So we even cook at home completely different. Whereas Jess has to go off of something that's structured because that's her strong blue coming out. Anyway, Driven Mofos, I hope that this helps. This is something that's super practical, and this is what I want to try to keep Fridays. Something that really helps you that you can go and implement, something that you can use in your business. And by the way, if you like this sort of stuff, hit me up on my Instagram page. I believe it's the Michael Mojo, so T-H-E, Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, Mojo on Instagram. Make sure you give me a follow, but hit me up as well in the chat. If you've got any questions, ask me because they help me to create different podcast episodes on questions that the community has. But also as well, I'd love to hear if these sort of things are helping you as well. Like if you go and implement the e-color with your team, jump in the chat and let me know or send me a DM on Instagram. That's normally the best place to get me. And let me know. I would love to hear from you. Driven Mofos, have a kick-ass day. Thanks for listening to the podcast and thanks for being part of this awesome community. Remember, sharing is caring. So please share this on your social media page and let's get this out to more people so we can help more businesses and also so that we can build more leaders out there as well, because all leadership is self-leadership. And if you're not leading yourself, you will not lead others, whether it be your family, whether it be people in your business, or whether it be your community. Get out there and crush it, Driven Mofos. Most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them.